All right, so let's start. So printing is a process for reproducing text and images using a master form or template. There are five um, big printing techniques. So the first one is relief type of printing. And the next one is intaglio types of printing. And the third one is lithography. And the fourth one is screen printing. And the last one is digital inkjet. So these are all the popular to use in art, but we are going to skip the last one, digital inkjet. And probably everyone knows what it is. So we're gonna see relief, intaglio, lithography, and screen printing. So let's see relief first. So relief print make the print plates, raised areas hold the ink. So this is the side view of the printing plate. So see, so maybe probably the artist make a curve, to make an image like this. So these are the, the curved side, and this, the raised area, hold the ink to print. So that all the types, by printing of the raised area is called relief. So the term relief describes any printing method in which the image to be printed, is raised from a background. So let's see the process in detail. So this is the relief printing process. Here is the image to print. So this is going to be a sketch. And then the image is now transferred to the block. So mostly for the relief printing, the artist use a block type of plate. So one second, someone is coming in. Okay. So the image is transferred on the block, and then the surface area that will not be printed is curved away. So for this printing, the artist leave this space and then just get rid of the all the background from here. And number four, the remaining protruding surface is carefully inked like this. So this raised area hold the ink. And now the raised inked area is transferred to the surface to be printed on the paper. So that is the basic concept of relief printing. And there are three popular ways of relief printing. So first one is woodcut. And the next one is wood engraving. And the third one is lino cut. So woodcut, let's see the woodcut. So this is the woodcut. So the artist curves an image into the surface of the block of the wood, typically with gauzes. So when you see this work of printing, the artist curved the image lines like this and leave the background to be printed like this. So that is called woodcut. So for the woodcut and the wood engraving, artists use the wood block called MDF block. Okay, And then here is wood engraving. So wood engraving is like this. So it is a printing and the letterpress printing technique in which an artist works an image or matrix of images into a block wood. So as you can see, all the background was removed from the block, and then some part of the some inside parts of the images are carved away. So that is wood engraving. And the last one is lino cut. So lino cut is also called linoleum cut. So this is linoleum, so which is very flexible and soft. So it's pretty much easy to curve out like this now. So this is what I made, like this. So it's just like, you know, erasers texture. So to use a linoleum, artists can make the, you know, wood cut effect and the wood engraving effect. Just, you know, lino cut is using the different medium. So let me share a video for your understanding about the relief.
No grain. And this is a drawing that I've transferred to the MDF. And these are the tools.
See, he just said he used MDF. So MDF is just wood type to make a relief printing. So
That I use old textile tools. So I got U gouges, a different assortment of sizes, V gouge, and then I would tone the block with an acrylic so I can see my mark. What I've done here with the graphite, because if I was just to make a mark.
So the knife tools called gouges, and he's gonna curve an image with the gouges.
Without toning it, you can't really see what you're doing. Lay some color down, boom, it really pops out. After I've gotten all of my detail outline work out of the way, then I will go in with a bigger U gouge, you know, carve around the whole piece so you get bigger, much larger marks. A couple of those next to each other, and then just keep hacking away. This was once 3/4 inch, and now it's at some points down to like not even a half an inch. So.
All right, so here's the quiz. Is this woodcut or wood engraving? So see the background, all the back,
Wood engraving?
wood engraving. Yes, this is wood engraving. See, all the background was carved away, and you know, some parts of the inside of the images are carved away. So it is wood engraving. Very good.
I've gone and just chiseled out all that. Makes it look really clean. It confuses people. Is that a woodcut or is that a screen print? And so that's what I like to go for. Here we go. The first part of printing is getting a nice ink palette going. This is a Japanese ink. Basically, what you're looking for is a nice velvet kind of sheen. You don't want to put too much ink. And you want that porridge just perfect. This is just caveman registration right here, just so I know where to put the paper and where to put the actual little block. And I like to wet the paper to get really nice, rich blacks, some pretty good details. Line it up with my registration, put the block down. Ensure no movement of the paper. So we'll roll it through the 15th century copying machine. No electricity needed. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So that is relief printing technique, and he specifically used wood engraving technique. All right. So now let's move on to the intaglio. So intaglio print make the print plates incised areas hold the ink. See? The incised area, the scratched image area hold the ink, not the top part. Does it make sense? So this is the side view of the plate. And for the intaglio, most of the artists use the metal plate. So they make a scratch to draw something on it. And the scratches, the incised area hold the ink, not the top part. So here is the process of the intaglio. This is an image to print. And so this is a sharp tool called needle. So using a sharp tool, the artist incises the image into the plate like this. Draw the image on the metal plate like this. And then the plate is inked. And the surface of the plate is wiped out, removing all ink except in the grooves. And the paper is placed on the plate and it is pressed with very heavy roller. And the paper lifts the ink out of the grooves, and the ink is imprinted on the paper. And the final image is completed in a reversed way, like this. So there are diverse types of intaglio, but we are going to see three intaglio printmaking today. First one is dry point. Next one is etching. And the third one is aqua tint. So intaglio is kind of hard to understand, and the terms are not familiar with us. So please listen carefully, and let's see each of techniques in detail. So let's see the dry point of intaglio first. So dry point is similar to the engraving, except that the cutting instrument used is a dry point needle. Here, this is the needle. And the artist draws on the plate, usually a copper plate, and almost as freely as one can draw on paper with a pencil. And some artists use acrylic plate instead of copper plate to make an image for the dry point printing. And as the needle scratches across the plate, it raises a burr like this, a burr or a thin ridge of metal. If left in place, the burr will hold ink along with the incised line, producing a soft, slightly burred line when printed. So the result looks like this, like a pencil drawing. Let me share a video for your understanding how to make a dry point print.
The dry point line creates a burr which catches the ink. I'm using an Akua printmaking plastic plate. It's very soft and easy to incise and press into.
So she's using acrylic plate instead of copper plate. And this is a sandpaper roller to make scratches on the plate to make the shading.
This is a line roulette dry point tool. It leaves an impression of a series of short lines. Rich darks are created by overlapping and cross hatching. This roulette has a random dot pattern which creates tonal values and textural effects. Needle tip dry point tools offer fine lines on top of the roulette marks or on top of the smooth surface of the plate. The image is finished and ready to be inked up for printing. I'm going to use Akua Intaglio soy-based ink right from the jar. Akua Intaglio ink is perfect for printing a dry point plate. The ink is applied gently with a piece of matte board. Once the plate is completely covered with a thin layer of ink, Akua wiping fabric is used to wipe away excess ink. An inky piece of wiping fabric rolled into a ball is used first. Akua wiping fabric is recommended because it is softer than tarlatan, yet more absorbent than cheesecloth.
Can you see that? All the scratches lines hold the ink. The incised area hold the ink.
Akua Intaglio ink will not skin or harden on the wiping fabric. To remove more plate tone and create a higher contrast print, I will continue to wipe the plate with a clean piece of wiping fabric. Once the desired amount of ink is removed, the plate is run through an etching press along with a piece of dampened paper. When printing with the Akua Intaglio ink, it is very important that the paper is just slightly damp. If the paper is too wet, the print will dry hazy. An hour ago, I sprayed the paper and then placed it in a plastic bag. Blotting before printing will ensure that the paper is not too wet. For easy registration, I prepared a template and placed it on the press bed.
So that wet paper is gonna, observe the ink from the incised area when it pressed.
As the plate goes through the press, the ink is being transferred from the plate to the paper. The high pigment load in Akua Intaglio Mars Black highlights the velvety appearance of the dry point line.
Looks cool, right? So that is dry point. So as you just see, the artist just to use a needle to draw something on the plate. So that is dry point. And etching. Etching is almost similar with the dry point, but the difference is using acid to make a depression. All right, so so etching is done with acid that eat lines and depressions into a metal plate, much as sharp tool cut those depressions in the method. So the process is here. The artist coats the entire plate with an acid-resistant substance called ground. So this is a ground. So it is coated by the ground. And the artist draws on the coated plate with an etching needle, like a dry point. After coating the plate, artist draw an image on the plate, just like the dry point. And the needle removes the ground, exposing the bare metal in areas meant to print. And the entire plate is dipped in an acid bath. Then this, scratches lines can make, deeper scratches by the acid. And, the coated, parts are not, make depressions. And so the ground is removed and the plate is inked and printed. So that is the process. So let me show you the process by video.
Of course, you'll need a plate. The next thing you'll need to do is use the brush to apply the ground to the plate. You may choose to dab the brush because you don't want brush strokes, you just want a smooth surface. Then allow the ground to dry on the plate. Allow ample time for this to happen. It may be several hours. Overnight is a good idea. Next, you'll begin to scratch off the areas that you want to be black. You may achieve this by scratching in a crosshatch pattern or perhaps using squiggly lines. You can use any sharp tool to accomplish this. In this case, I prepared my plate using a leather punch. Here's a look at the completed plate for this etching. Now you'll need to gather your supplies for the acid part of this process. You'll need acid, gloves, eye protection, and an etched plate. In this case, I'm using copper etching solution. You may order this from the internet or you may pick it up at your local art supply. Acid into a container and drop the etched plate into the acid bath. You'll now allow the acid bath to bite into the plate. Everywhere where there is not ground, the acid will bite into the plate. Brush away the bubbles during this process. This process may take anywhere from several seconds to several minutes, depending on the strength of using either acetone or some other paint thinner. Now gather your ink supplies. This will include oil-based printing ink and some type of card. Add a dab of ink to the plate. Now you may choose to use newspaper or cheesecloth and gently wipe away the ink from the surface of the plate. Here's what your prepared plate should look like.
So like the dry point, so he just removed all the inks from the surface of the plate, and the inside, the depression parts hold the ink.
Placing in the paper with a little bit of water. This will allow for the paper to actually suck the ink off of the plate onto the paper. Lay the paper on top of the plate inside of the press. Run the plate through the press and gently pull away the print from the plate.
So that is the result. So that was the etching printing process. So this is an etching printing work. In the video, he just made a very simple image to show the process. But by using etching technique, we can make like this very deeper shading drawing techniques. So it looks like a pen drawing with a serious modeling mess, right? So the lines are deeper and darker compared to the dry point, because the drawing lines are depressed by acid. So that is the biggest difference with between the etching and the dry point. And the third one, aquatint in intaglio. So aquatint is a way of achieving flat of tone gray values or intermediate values of color. And it doesn't need a needle to draw something on the plate, like the other two intaglio techniques we just saw. So Artists don't need to use a needle to draw something on the plate. So the artist first dusts it with a finely powdered resin. The plate is heated so that the resin sticks to it. The resin resists acid, so when the plate is immersed in acid, and the acid will bite all around the resin particles, producing a pitted surface that holds ink evenly. And the artist block non-printing areas with the brush and dip the entire plate into an acid bath. And the ground is removed and the plate is inked and printed. So let me share a video to show the process of aquatint. So he just applied the resin and he just heated. And he's applying the ground. Which he doesn't meant to print. So he's keep doing that same process, covering some parts and putting in the acid bath to make the value mass scale. And after it's done, he's gonna wipe all the ground from the plate. Can you see this? No, the depressions are different now. And he never used needle to make it, to draw an image on the plate. And he's applying he applied the ink to print, and he prepared the wet paper to print. See, that is aquatint. So the point is he didn't use any sharp tool to draw an image on the plate. So this is the aquatint printing. So now when you compared it with this etching printing, now etching printing has lots of drawing lines by the needle. But see, the aquatint, it doesn't have any thin lines to draw. So that's the difference. And let's move on to the third printing technique, lithography. So lithography is totally different techniques with the relief and the intaglio we just saw. It's totally different. The image area here on the lithography plate hold the ink, and the non-image areas repel the ink. When the artist apply the ink, the background repel the ink and only the image area hold the ink. So there is no curving, needle drawing, or acid depression. So this is the process of lithography. So here is an image that the artist wants to print. And then using a grease pencil. So this is a grease pencil. The design is drawn onto the limestone. So for the lithography, artists use limestone. So this is a stone, and draw something on it with the grease pencil. And it blocks the pore of the limestone. And the stone is treated with acid and other chemicals that are brushed onto its surface. So the acid is not for the depression. It's just, using for the, chemical effect. Then the surface is wiped clean with the solvent such as kerosene. And the stone is sponged so that water can be absorbed into the pores of the stone. And number 5, the oil-based ink is repelled by the water on the background and sits only on the area where the oil crayon image was drawn. And the paper is laid on the surface of the stone, and it is drawn through a press. And the print is removed from the stone, then the completed image appears in reversed compared with the original design. So that is the process of the lithography. So let me show you a video to show the lithography process in detail. So see, she's using real stone. So this is the limestone. So it seems like it's a ground, we just saw in the, Intaglia printing. And I guess this ground is also, oil-based, so it holds the ink.
Before coming here, I was not using printmaking.
So this is the grease pencil.
Mostly draw on paint. So lithography feels quite close to the feeling to painting or drawing directly on the paper. I like it because it's quite painterly, and yeah, it's very close to my sensitivity. The feeling is close to it, but actually in the print process there are many accidents, and I'm very quick normally on the drawings, but with printmaking I need to be more thinking of what I'm doing. It is going to be reproduced many times, whether with the drawing or painting, everything is happening there. Taking a drawing on like a stove.
So, she just, used the water, and the water can be observed into the pores of the stone, and the background is going to repel the ink when you apply the ink on it.
Our plate, it feels a little bit more pressure.
So now she's gonna apply the ink on the plate.
But even when you're drawing, actually, it's like piece of paper.
See?
Like I normally start.
No, we cannot see any ink on the background. Only the, the drawing part with the grease pencil that holds the ink.
Left. But then sometimes when I print, I say, oh, okay, that looks, obviously it looks different because the figure that it meant to be on the left is on the right.
And she's preparing to print.
It's quite demanding. I mean, I enjoy that part, maybe because I enjoy materials. In my BA, I did sculpture, and I'm quite, linked into materials, and I quite enjoy the physical labor of printmaking.
So that is the printing result. So okay, so that was the lithography process, and this is a lithography work. So lithography is a planographic process, which means that the printing surface is totally flat, and it is not raised as in relief or depressed as in intaglio. To make a lithographic print, the artist draws the image on the stone with the greasy materials. And when the stone is inked, the greasy ink sticks to the greasy drawing. And this is the last printing technique we are going to see, screen printing. So screen printing is called silk screen or serigraphy. There is a screen here for the screen printing, and the ink passes through the areas of the screen that are not blocked. So this gray part is blocked by the a special medium, and this image area is not blocked, so the ink can pass through. And traditionally, this printing technique is used for a t-shirt, t-shirt printing. Screen printing is a printing technique where a mesh is used to transfer ink onto a substrate, except in areas made impermeable to the ink by a blocking stencil. So this screen is a fine mesh of silk or synthetic fiber mounted in a frame, rather like a window screen. And working from drawings, the printmaker blocks the area that are not meant to print by plugging the holes so that no ink can pass through. Then the screen is placed on over the paper, and the ink is forced through the mesh with the tool called squeegee. And only the areas not stepped out allow the ink to pass through on paper. So let me share a video to see the screen printing process.
You're gonna need a screen, a squeegee, and some foam. This stuff comes in two parts. You're gonna add a little water to the little bottle of sensitizer and mix it up. That loosens it from the sides of the bottle, and then you can pour it into the emulsion. Then you're gonna mix that all together really, really well until it's a consistent green color. It might take a little while, but
So this is going to be block the screen.
make sure that you get it fully consistent. Once you have it, you pour a little bit of it onto the screen. You don't need to use very much because it spreads really thin once you use a squeegee. make sure to get the entire thing covered where your art's going to be and make sure it's really, really even. Now don't leave this out in the light.
So this ground is very sensitive for the light. When it exposure from the light, then that screen is gonna, fully blocked. So the ink cannot pass through. So it has to be in the shadow without light to dry.
Fan on it to dry and turn the lights off. You want it to dry in the dark. Once it's dry, you do want to work quickly because this stuff is photosensitive. So the longer the light's on it.
So this, the black image area, is not going to be exposed by the light.
Quicker it's going to set. Print out your art on some transparencies, and you can do this at any office supply store, and then lay them backward on the back of the screen. Lay a piece of glass over them to push them down against the screen, and then set a really bright light on top of it for about 30 or 45 minutes.
See, then now, except for the image area, the rest of the part is gonna block the screen.
So while we're waiting on that, I want to tell you about.
Okay, he's selling something. All right.
Sometimes you may have mistakes. If you have areas that are mistakes or stuff you
so
onto the surface that you're
now he's gonna wash them away
gently because you don't want to remove anything that you actually need. This may take a little bit of time, and sometimes you may have mistakes. If you have areas that are mistakes or stuff you don't want to print yet, you can use some tape to cover them up. Use painter's tape and not duct tape. The duct tape will rip off the emulsion. Now lay out your shirt and place your screen, then add a nice thick bead of the screen printing ink. It's best to have somebody else hold your screen and then pull the squeegee down across your print.
See?
If you click here, you can...
That is...
down across your print.
The screen printing. So this, traditionally, this technique is used for the t-shirt printing. All right, so this is a screen printing work. So it looks like a solid acrylic painting, right? So for screen printing, artists use one screen frame for each color. So for this work, for example, the artist used one frame for the ivory color, and one is for the light gray here, and one is for the the medium gray, and one is for the navy, and one is for the red, and the other one is the dark red. And maybe for the background, the artist used one frame by mixing two colors on the frame. So I guess the artist used 7 screen frames. That's a lot. So it looks a great work of art with an excellent technique. Okay, so that's it for this chapter. So printing is kind of tricky to understand without visually watching how to do it. So please watch all the videos again. So you will see the videos here in the discussion page. So this is today's discussion topic. Please watch the printing making process, the videos below here. There are all the videos we just watched together. So please rewatch them and choose one of them and tell us a brief printing tech, the features and the process. Okay, so today's discussion is going to be a review of this chapter, and